external, the country itself, maybe the team? What would be the main factors that would affect your training?
The main factors that affected my training. Well, I would say that first of all, it is the team which I was working with, which were very diverse due to the fact that it's United States. I had a lot of different people working with me, and I think it gave me an insight how to work in a culturally diverse and basically very diverse atmosphere and the ambience itself as well. I think it was also the management that I had, and in this case, I should say that it's not the good management that I had that I learned from. It's the bad management that I had that I learned from. The management of the hotel was not very much advanced, I would say, in what they were doing. I did not appreciate a few things, and working under the supervision of that manager, it was very difficult for me as an employee myself. So I think that what I learned is from the bad things that were done. I think I learned the best out of them, that this is not how you do this is not what you do, and this is what happens if you do things like this and like that. This is what happens to employee, because I experienced it myself. I think it was the very good factor as well that helped myself learning as a supervisor and maybe hopefully managing my team right now much better than I possibly would without having seen it. And also, I think this is the country itself. The United States are very famous to being a very open country and to being the country of opportunities, where you can take the opportunity, and the management itself is not very much, how would you say,
hierarchy, yeah.
Yes. So it's not very strict in this case, so you can take responsibilities and people would allow you to. And I think the property helped me as well, because I took the not the easiest city. I was working in Washington, D.C. At the airport hotel, which gives you a lot of very dynamic property, and 300 rooms which you gotta manage. And airport property, Pentagon is 2 minutes away, and you have airlines coming in, you have the plane stuck at the airport, you have the people who cannot get on the airplane, you have people who are distressed passengers that the flight were canceled, they have to stay in, and you have the Pentagon rooms, the military people, and pretty much all this mix that you have to manage in one property. And this was stressful, but I think also very helpful to understanding how do I manage this and that people, what do I do to put the stress down, how do I assign the rooms, what do I do, how do I need to work with housekeeping so I get the rooms ready, and so on and so on. So by the end of the day, we are 100% full, everyone is happy, and we are good to go for the next day. Okay. So I think it's most as well as the experience itself in this property, which also helped me to work there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How was your communication with your direct supervisor?
My direct supervisor has changed during my internship. I would say that my direct supervisor would be my front office manager, and the communication with my first front office manager was not, with my direct supervisor, let's say, was not very efficient. I believe due to her misunderstanding of what my ambitions are as a management trainee. As I mentioned to you, since this program was privately adopted by the property, I believe they did not have the interest of keeping the people inside. That's why they just let them training by themselves. Where I was looking for more supervision and mentorship and direction. That is why our communication was not very efficient in terms that me asking for the evaluation was not taken seriously enough. The communication with my second supervisor was more efficient. She was giving me projects to do and evaluations of my development, let's say, and I would say that one helped me more at the end of my training.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Basing on those two different experiences, how would you describe both of them as a mentor? Were they good mentors? Did they encourage your development?
Well, I would say that we're going to leave out the first one because she was not very much experienced in the field herself. Let's say she was very new as a front office manager as well. That is why I feel focused on my second supervisor. She was, I would say she was a very a weak mentor, if I may describe this way. She had good basics to become a mentor because she was also evaluating me and giving me the private feedback on my development. She gave me a project to do as well, which is, I believe, what mentors should be doing is giving you opportunity to develop and pushing you to strive for more and for better and to take responsibility and to use your creativity and knowledge into something new. So she was doing this. She was doing it by the end of my training. So let's switch it. She was a good mentor. Let's put it this way. But myself thinking right now what she done for me, I think that we could put it that she was more or less the mentor that you would expect to have, which gives you the feedback and which pushes you up, which gives you opportunity to do your own project, to take the responsibility for something that gives you opportunity to use your creativity and knowledge to create something yourself, and then also give you feedback on how you completed the task.
Okay. After you completed the program, how was your will to stay within the hotel industry?
Well, after completing the program, I would say my will to stay in the hotel business did not change much. I would say that my aspirations in my future step has changed. Where after completing my management training, I was not looking into taking any line positions any longer, because having the experience as a supervisor and as a manager of front office, I would not be comfortable being the line employee any longer. That's why for me, when coming back, I was looking only into the minor management positions, supervisory positions only. Because during the management training, I should say, I had the exposure of different side of working in a hotel, which was very much appreciated by me. So I enjoyed it as well, and the will to stay in the hotel business didn't change for me.
Okay. How long did it take you to find an opportunity after starting the search process?
In my case, it was very fast, and I believe it's thanks to my resume, which was very much diverse, and my experience, which was for my age pretty solid to start the management training. For me, it took about, I would say, 2-3 weeks to find the opportunity in the United States, as well taking in the account that I had my certain expectations of the destinations I want to go and the type of property I want to have and the department I want to do my management training in. So it took me about 2-3 weeks to find one. And it was my first interview, which went super well. And that is why, after all, it took me 1 month to do my visa only. I was to go.
Okay. In your opinion, having or not having previous working experience affects your development?
Very much indeed. The previous experience does have the biggest influence, I believe, on the success of your management training and actually on the success of yourself as a professional. Would you be so kind to repeat the question?
So how having or not having experience affects your development?
Yes, indeed. Development as a manager, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. It has a very, very big influence on how do you develop as a manager, because in my opinion, to be a good manager and to be an effective manager for the team and for the business and for the upper management, top management that you have, gotta be very knowledgeable in your department and in your field, because knowing hospitality business, we know how much everything is connected. And if you want to be a very good front office manager, you have to have the knowledge of the housekeeping department.